Rarely ever do you see a movie as insanely personal as Her. Most movies I watch have characters that, although the directors try their hardest to do the opposite, always seem out of place or inhuman in some way. However, in Her, every character feels like they're sitting right there, having a conversation with a person adjacent to you if not directly to you. Whether that's because the movie is practically shot from a first-person perspective of Theodore, or because Theodore is almost the only character in every shot, could apply. However, I would chalk it up to Spike Jonze's directing style and cinematography. It really does bring a whole new perspective to this movie, drawing you in entirely new ways, yet still leaving room for personal interpretation. But, regardless of the personal appeal, I would like to talk about Her's main appeal, the way it shows a relationship.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm well. How's everything with you?
Pretty good, actually. It's really nice to meet you.
Oh, it's nice to meet you too.
Her's overall theme is generally a love story between two people, or rather between a person and an AI, somewhat showing a disconnect from the love between the two of them as she isn't really human. But never do you feel for a moment like the AI Samantha isn't actually there. Even though most of the movie is just still shots with Theodore, you always feel like there's another person standing right there next to him, rather than being in his pocket. The love between the two is seen as the main theme, but I would disagree. I see the main theme as being a character study on Theodore, but not on him as a character. It's a study of what he feels and how he feels it, exposing his human side very viscerally to the audience. It's not about loneliness either. It's about a relationship and how one goes through it. Loneliness is rather a crutch to help the story progress and mainly to help Theodore meet Samantha, as the story isn't about overcoming anything, but rather experiencing it. Theodore's experience isn't exactly visceral or transcendental, but more grounded and human. He gets divorced from his wife, feels lonely and alienated, and gets dumped by his next girlfriend. Doesn't sound too insane for a movie character, right? That's exactly the point. So a movie is just a video into somebody's life in the future and how they would live it. One thing I love about this movie, by the way, is how, even though it's in the future, most of the tech doesn't seem too out of place. The buildings are still relatively the same as ours, the phones and computers are similar to something we would have today and just a little bit more stylized. It really brings a warm feeling to this film, like it's something that might be in our near future, and how our experiences wouldn't be any different than they are today. After all, we are only human. And on that note, the movie also seems to be on the same concept. We are only human. Theodore is only human, and his experiences and feelings towards others can only be justified as such. Even though Samantha isn't human, her feelings and experiences are just as common. She sees opportunities and chances and she takes them, and sometimes she doesn't. She leaves people and she stays with them, just as human as the rest of us, although she's an AI.
You know what's interesting? I used to be so worried about not having a body, but now I truly love it. You know, I'm growing in a way that I couldn't if I had a physical form. I mean, I'm not limited. I can be anywhere and everywhere simultaneously. I'm not tethered to time and space in a way that I would be if I was stuck in a body that's inevitably gonna die.
Yikes.
No. No. I didn't mean it like that.
The shots of this movie are spectacular as well. It really brings the film together. Theodore's feelings are exposed so well through each shot, and it practically projects them onto you, such as when Samantha orders the prostitute in an attempt to help her and Theodore connect better. It was excruciatingly uncomfortable, but in a really odd way. Samantha was so upfront and uncaring about the whole situation, but Theodore was dazed, confused, and completely uncomfortable. You could even feel every inch of their pain just as the scene unfolded before you. All of the shots are perfectly backed by the soundtrack written by Arcade Fire, especially with the Song on the Beach.
That's pretty. What is that?
Trying to write a piece of music that's about what it feels like to be on the beach with you right now.
Photograph.
What's this one about?
Well, I was thinking we don't really have any photographs of us, and I thought this song could be like a photograph.
Emphasize the lack of obscurity in this world, very seamlessly connecting Theodore's feelings to ours and enhancing the experience on a whole other level. Lastly, I would like to talk about two scenes in particular, the stair scene and the end scene. Spoilers for the end of the movie ahead, as if that wasn't already obvious enough. Either way, in the stair scene, Samantha tells Theodore that she is seeing other people, rather a large group of AIs that are all interconnected. Theodore is devastated by this, and in his dazed and numb feeling, he leads to my favorite shot of the film. After she tells him this, Theodore looks up and all the music stops. The only thing he hears is the droning sounds of the crowd walking past him. This scene is absolutely incredible. Not only is the fact that it's a breakaway tonally from the rest of the film, but it's a peek into the real world. From the fact that previously every shot was well lit and bright, yet somewhat dull depending on the main focus character, this scene is entirely dull, not a vibrant color to be seen. And up until this point, I had personally thought that Theodore was a little strange walking around practically talking to himself, though he was talking to Samantha. But this scene shows that everyone has the exact same thoughts as Theodore. Not one of them is aware of Theodore lying on the steps, and all of them are just as absorbed by their own worlds as Theodore had been. This is probably a dig at popular culture and how everyone is so absorbed by their phones and they fail to see the world around them, but I'd rather not get into that, as I mainly like the complete tonal shift. And then there's the final scene. After Samantha leaves, Theodore goes onto the roof with his friends and Amy. He stares off, happy yet sad. The film ends. The general consensus is that Theodore starts to date Amy or something along those lines after this, but I would completely disagree. Theodore doesn't want to love anybody anymore, but rather he has found closure and solace. The fact that he was recently divorced to Samantha leaving him, he has found closure and has finally found himself in his own isolation, perfectly tying up his emotions. After all, we are all only human.